Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Badri, and in today's video I'm going to talk about my favorite series. I have them all stacked over here. I'm going to divide this video into two different groups. I'm going to talk about series that follow the same people and the same timeline, and I'm going to talk about interconnected standalones because I think those are my favorite type of series. First, I'm going to talk about the series that follow the same people. One of my favorite series of all time. I read it when I was a teenager, and now I reread it. I reread it last year, and I'm currently watching season 2 on Amazon Prime. Is The Samurai Turned Pretty. The target audience for this book is teenagers, so maybe if you didn't read it when you were a teenager, it will be kind of cringy for you, but you need to keep in mind that the main character is 15 years old, so she's acting like a 15-year-old, and it's basically summer vibes. This girl goes every summer to live temporarily in this beach house with her family and her mother's best friend family. She has 2 kids, 2 boys, and she has always had a crush on the big brother, and this series is a trilogy. The next series that I'm going to talk about is also a trilogy. It's called The Inheritance Games. This is more of a mystery thriller type of thing. This girl gets an inheritance from a really rich man, and she doesn't even know him, so she's like, what's going on? But for her to be able to receive that inheritance, she needs to live in the house where he used to live. But the thing is, he loved riddles and games, so they start finding things about him, and they follow these leads that they're getting, and it's really interesting. I love the characters, and it's not boring, because sometimes I think when for me, in my case, when it's a mystery or something like that, if the plot isn't executed in the best way, it tends to be boring for me. So it doesn't need to have a good plot, it also needs to be well written. But this was really good. I loved it. Then the next series that I'm going to talk about, I do have some of the books here because I'm rereading it right now, so I'm buying the books physically so I can annotate them. I've only read the first 3, but it's the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series. These are 2 series that you need to read. Well, if you want, you don't have to, but if you want to have the full experience, you need to read them in chronological order. So first you read some of the books from one of the series, then you read from the other, then the other, and like that. It's really easy to find the reading order. I'm going to put it up in the screen for you, or in the description box if you want. And this, oh my god, all of the characters from these books are amazing. In this series you follow Lily and Lo. They're a pair of best friends that were fake dating to try to hide their addictions. And on this other series we have some books that are from one of the big 6 sisters from Lily, and on this one her little sister, and you see them all in all of the books because they are just like really close, and it's just like the best series ever. I love them all. Like, there's no one that I hate from the main characters, and not just like indifference. No, I love them all. Then we have another series that I have over here. This one is also similar to that one because it's the same series, but in some books you get 2 main characters, in some of the other books you get 3 main characters that are different from the first ones. So in Magnolia Parks, these 2 books, you get Magnolia and BJ, and on these 2 you get Christian, Daisy, and Julian. And I need to make a little intermission, like, please, these covers. Like, I guess all of you that are watching this right now have already seen this series somewhere because it's just really popular. But right now I'm crying because they're changing the covers, and the author said that they will keep selling the originals that are these ones, but I don't know if they're going to keep selling the ones that are already made, or when they release a new one they're going to release it with this type of cover, because if not, it's not going to match and I'm going to cry really hard. So I'm going to explain this series a little bit for you. These people are rich kids. Well, kids, they are like 20 something, 21, 22, I'm not really sure, but they're really young. They are really rich because their parents are rich, and they live in London. It's like Gossip Girl but UK edition, really good. Then I don't have the books, but I think I'm going to gift them to myself when my birthday comes up in November. so I can just read them before the next one comes out. I have no idea when that would be, but I would like to have them before that happens. And it's the Aquator series. This series is about, I'm going to tell you the beginning of the first book. It's a girl that's trying to hunt to feed her family, Hunger Game vibes, and she kills a wolf, but then you get to know that it wasn't really a wolf, it was a fae or a fairy. I don't know how they were, like, I don't know if fae was like all of them or just those specific ones, but basically she killed a fae, and a monster comes to get her because that was his friend. So he tells her that she is now his prisoner and she needs to go to live where the fae live, that is divided by an invisible wall, I think. So yes, I don't know if it sounds that good, but it's really, really, really good. I'm just so obsessed. Like, this series changed my life. It's fantasy, but it's beginner friendly. It was the first fantasy that I read, apart from Twilight, that doesn't really count. And it was really easy to read. The world building isn't that difficult. Then I'm going to talk about two other fantasies. The first one I have here is Crowns of Nyxia. Nyxia. I'm not really sure how you pronounce it. In my head, I say Nyxia. And is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Then we have Six Scorched Roses. That is a novella in the middle. And then we have The Ashes and the Star-Coursed King. The novella is about two other main characters. These two are about the same main characters, and it's just amazing. I'm going to give you the summary of the first book, not the summary, the synopsis. There's this girl that's a human that has been adopted by a vampire. We're inside the vampire world, okay? And basically, this vampire adopts this girl and he trains her and all that stuff. And when she's 23, she enters the Kajeri. I don't know if you pronounce it like that. Kejari. I think it is Kejari. It's like a Hunger Games. You get to do, I think it's 5 different trials in 4 months, and people die with the trials, and at the end, one person is still alive. They're the winner, and the goddess Nyxia will provide you with a wish, so you can wish whatever you want. So this girl is entering the Kejari so she can ask for a wish from the goddess of the vampires. And the last fantasy / romance book that I'm going to talk about, not book series. I only have this book physically. I have the other ones, but they're in Spanish because they're my mom's when she was younger. But it's the Twilight saga. I don't know if I want to buy the other books. It's because I keep buying books that I've already read, and I don't think that's good. I think I should buy books that I haven't read so I can read them. But this series is just amazing. I don't think anyone needs an explanation about what Twilight is, but basically vampire romance. That was the last one from the series that follow the same main characters. Now I'm going to speak about the interconnected standalone series. First, I'm going to talk about a specific author. We have Lauren Asher, the queen herself. I just love how she connects all of her books. I'm going to speak about first. I didn't read them in order. I read first this series and then this series, but they're like in the same universe. So when you read, like, these get mentioned in the other books, I didn't get it when I read them, but because I read them in the wrong order. But we have Throttled, Collided, Wrecked, and Redeemed. These two are my favorite books. I think Redeemed is like my top favorite from this series, but basically every book follows a different Formula 1 driver. I think they're really good and original, and you get to learn a little bit about the Formula 1 world. It's really amazing. I think you should read it. They're like the best romances. Lauren Asher does it really well. I already have my next book from her pre-ordered because this is all of her books. And now she's coming out with a new series. And then the second series is Dreamland Billionaires series. And every book is about one of the brothers. Their grandpa dies, and he's like basically the owner of Disneyland, but fake Disneyland because it's called Dreamland. So to get their inheritance, or not their inheritance, but like their shares in the company, they have to do a specific task that the grandpa sends them. So every book is from each of the brothers trying to complete their task. My favorite book is this one, the last one, Final Offer. Then I think Terms and Conditions, and last one, the fine print, but they're all like over 4 stars. They're all really, really good. Then I'm going to talk about the Edens series. This series is about a family that lives in Quincy, Montana, and every book is about one of the brothers or sisters from this family. Some of them have a mystery subplot into it, and they're all really good. Another series that I'm thinking on buying the books, but I already read them on my Kindle, so it doesn't really make sense. But I would love to have those covers because I think they're really pretty. Then a series that has the same small town vibes is the Knock 'Em Out series. I think it's going to be a trilogy. There's 2 books out and there's another one coming. Tell me, these aren't the most adorable covers you've ever seen. The third one is like a purple cover with flowers also, obviously. Well, in this series you have Knox and Naomi. Naomi gets called by her sister. She calls her and she's like, I need your help, blah blah blah. She goes to where her sister is living, and when she gets there she finds out that her sister ran away. She has a niece that she didn't know about, so she stays to take care of the niece so she doesn't go into foster care or anything like that. And Knox lives in that small town and he's a really grumpy man, but he helps them. He lets them stay in his property, so really good. And then the second book, these aren't really okay, I don't know if you could say that these are standalones because you need to read the first one to read the second one, because they follow the same plot, so you would be really lost in the second one without reading the first one. But they don't follow the same main characters. In the second one you get to follow, I think her name is Lena. Let me see, yes, Lena. She's a really good friend of Knox and she moved into Knock 'Em Out recently. And then we have Nash, which is Knox's brother. Really, really good books. I love Lucy's Scar. I just finished By a Thread by her. Oh my god, like she does it every time. Then really, really, really similar to the Edens series because they have a ranch and it's like cowboy vibes. Not really, but yes. It's the Chestnut Springs series, another series that you may have already heard about it because it's really popular at the moment. But it's also about a family that lives in I don't know if it's really a small town, but they have a ranch in a small town, I think. And every book is from one of the boys of that family, or also of like people that are near, like inside their circle. Really good, all of the books. I'm just like, I can't wait for the next book, and I think it's going to be the last one, and I'm really, really sad. After Chestnut Springs, we have my first 2 Abby Jimenez books, but right now I'm in a book buying ban. But for my birthday, I'm going to order her other series because I'm obsessed. In this series, there are also interconnected standalones, obviously. We have the first book, which is about Alexis and Daniel. Alexis has a car problem next to a really small town, and this man helps her, and then she finds him again on a bar, and they start seeing each other, but she lives really far away. She's from the city, he's from a really small town. You know, that kind of thing. And then the second book is about Alexis' best friend. Her name is Brianna, and she's a doctor like Alexis, and a new doctor comes to work into her hospital, and they have a really first bad impression of each other. But then he sends her a letter like to say he's sorry and all that stuff, and he's really sweet. I love him. He's my favorite book boyfriend, I think. Jacob. I love him so much. And I don't know if there's going to be more books in this series because I don't know who they'll start the story, because usually they hint it out on the previous book, but I will buy them all. And look how cute the publisher's colors, just so great. And then I have 2 more series to talk about. One of them is Kings of Sin by Juan. I read the Twisted series by her. I liked it, but it wasn't the best thing in my life. And then I started reading King of Sin. I read King of Wrath and King of Pride. That are the only books that are out, and they're just amazing. I love them so much. I think I like King of Pride a little bit better, but I can't wait for the other books. And there's going to be 5 more because there's 7 scenes, so there needs to be 1 book for every scene. So chef's kiss, and they're like rich vibes, really rich people, powerful. I love those kind of tropes. And then my last recommendation, I'm not really doing recommendations, I'm talking about my favorite series. This isn't really a series or interconnected standalones, but is the Mariana Zapata universe. Every book she writes is inside the same universe, and some of them are more connected than others, but I just can't believe I didn't start reading them in the order that you're supposed to read them, from like in publishing order, because I didn't know that was a thing. So the first book I read was From Look Up With Love, then I read The World of Winnipeg and Me, then I read Hands Down, and then I realized I was reading it all wrong, so I started from the beginning. Some books I skipped, like Lingus, because I love Larissa and I really believe in her tastes and what she says about books, and she hated that book, so I was like, no thank you. So I skipped that one and something on something, I think it's, or Chords, Rhythm and something, I don't know. But I skipped those two and I have 3 books left, and I'm really sad because I don't want to finish them, but when. I hope you liked this video. If you have any series that you think are the greatest thing of all time and I haven't read it, please leave it in the comments so I can start new series, and I'll see you next time. Bye!